I'm Joe, pronouns she, they.
Yay! Hi, I'm Shawna, pronouns she, they.
And we are Mythic Geekdom!
Yay!
That's how we start all of our streams.
Yep.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the first in a series of interviews I'm hoping to do with other queer creators, or queerators, as you'll hear us coin in this interview. So the first one are my dear friends Joe and Shawna of Mythic Geekdom. They launched a whole new brand in 2020 amid and basically because of everything falling apart in the world. And we had a great conversation about creativity, monetization, worthiness, vulnerability, the mental game, mental health, and more. So I'm really excited to share this with you. It is a bit longer. I just couldn't cut any more of it because it was just too good. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get to the interview.
How do you describe yourself?
Oh, how do I describe myself?
Yeah.
Hufflegoth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would definitely, yeah.
Bard, geek.
Yes.
Yeah. Bardbarian.
Bardbarian for sure.
Oh, I like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am a cosmic cutie.
Perfect shirt.
Perfect shirt. It's like I prepared or something. Little bit of Hermione for me, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's good.
I would say that I am proficient in storytelling.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So there you are.
Yeah. That's us. Mythic Geekdom is our hub of creative geekiness that we put out earlier in the middle of 2020, summer of 2020.
Middle.
Somewhere in the nebulous blob portion.
Yeah. What is time?
What is time? Basically, within the dumpster fire, we took those ashes and birthed a phoenix. So
right. We know how important it is to be geeky in every aspect of your life and how that can really make a profound change in who you are. So we wanted to make sure that we set up a platform. I guess that's the word for it.
Yeah.
Set up a platform for to be able to take what inspires us and what is geeky about us and bring it forward to people as kind of a bardic inspiration, if you will.
Yeah, we wanted to be able to have a place to make all of our own art and share all of that art somewhere. Just have a central hub where all of our geeky inspired art could be shared. And then we realized that we could turn it around into this thing where we could encourage others to do the same.
Exactly.
And it just kind of grew from there. Yeah. So we make music and illustrations, and we print stickers and shirts, and we do some game streams and some guided meditations that make you feel like you're in the middle of a tabletop role-playing game.
Yep.
Love that.
So yeah. All kinds of fun stuff.
So that's
video streams.
Where and what we are right now.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how this all formed, because like beforehand I know with all the and everything, and I feel like a lot of us were in a pretty crappy place, and in some ways still are.
Right.
That is okay and understandable, but it's like, what pushed you to be like, you know what, I need this and I want to share it with others? Like, what was really that impetus to just be like, I could just stay in this blanket burrito, or I could go out there and do this?
Several pieces that led up to it, for sure.
Lots of pieces of the puzzle. I think first and foremost, there's a lot of our friends who are like, wow, you guys are doing so well already. What's up with that? It feels like this is overnight. And we know very well that it's not overnight.
Like 20 years.
It's a lot in the making.
Learning these skills, building these connections with people,
right? And just being able to understand what we want from our art and what we want to express. So that was one of the biggest, hugest things. But obviously, from there, we monetization is a thing,
yeah,
and
we never believed we were worthy of it.
A huge barrier.
Yeah,
huge barrier, mind barrier.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest recurring things that comes up with every creative I talk to.
Totally. There's a sort of a stigma around it, whether you drink that Kool-Aid or not. It still is there, you know, and we can talk more about it if you want to. But the other thing I would say is because of the year, gestures wildly, finances and our career things had to be put on pause, and it wasn't necessarily safe, or at least we didn't feel safe enough to be within the workplace that we have been in for
2 decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Decades and decades. So we decided and said, hey, just like the world, we'd like to put this on pause, have a moment to ourselves. But within that, we were like,
this blossomed.
how do we do the thing? How do we still make things work for us? Still kind of get money and live, you know?
Right.
So part of it was necessity, and then part of it was this backlog of preparation.
Necessity really is the birth of invention, and sometimes you need that little push to jump off the cliff that you've always been wanting to jump off. Like your wings are there, they're ready. All you need to do is
on that edge,
fly. And sometimes we just need something to gently push us, you know. And this was not a gentle push at all. This was like, whoa, the tower has fallen.
This was like, get kicked out of the
exactly. The tower is falling, and your choice is fall or fly. And everything just kind of fell into place, and we made that decision. There's definitely always been that whole I'm not worthy of this. Everyone can do their art as a hobby, but you know, make money off your art. And we've spent the last several decades using our artistic skills to definitely make money off it, but to make art for other people or help others realize their art. And those have been some very fulfilling experiences.
It's okay if I do this for my friend. It's okay if I do this for someone that is close to me. Maybe they're like an acquaintance or whatever.
If I direct this community theater and I get some money
and a soda, you know, or whatever.
Small stipend to direct a play for your alma mater or whatever, you know.
And that was like the this is the barrier.
It's still a real job. You know, you're still getting like a salary check from people that give out health insurance. So it's considered okay, you know, by parentals and the ideas that we were inundated with. And the whole idea of, art, that's a hobby, you know? And I don't know, so many different things just led to it. And I was having some lessons with you, Aiden, and I had started therapy, and I finally started taking some mood stabilizing medication, which was very helpful for me. And just a variety of things all fell into place where we had hit rock bottom in a certain way and said, no more, we have to do something better. And Shawna said, I have all these creative ideas. She's always had these creative ideas. It feels like anything we do that's creative is because she had an idea, and I the good Hufflepuff, said, okay, yes, I'll help you.
That's not true.
I know, but it seems that way.
It feels that way.
And then I don't know, I always had this kind of begrudging, like, yeah, I like helping you, but oh gosh, do I have to get started? Do I have to, I'm doing this for you, I'm not doing this for me. And through a lot of communication and really being open with each other and vulnerable with one another, and my therapy, being able to be vulnerable with myself, she's finally said, hey, I want to do this thing where all this creative stuff I've been doing for myself, I want to put it out in the internet somewhere or something. And then something clicked in me where I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help you, no worries. And I didn't have that begrudging feeling. And then something else clicked where it was like, you can also be a part of this and do this for you, not just helping and supporting her. This can be our thing. And I'm like, I can write my music, finally release my first album as a part of this.
This is what I was about to bring up.
Yeah.
She tells me that I am like the mastermind behind all of this, and I have all of the like
You're
creative
the
ideas.
inception. You're the spark.
That album is completely all you. So
talk a little more about your album, because I want to hear about
yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. It is a lo-fi album inspired by the characters and the music of the Kingdom Hearts video game series. So it takes the music in that video game series is stellar and incredible, and I have loved that music for so long, and I finally started to play around with my own composing and the software that I use, and started playing around with loops and beats and different melodies and instruments. And I had just finished playing the third game because I had all this free time in the middle of quarantine. I just like, I'm finally going to play this game. I've had it on my Xbox for half a year. Now I'm finally going to play it. And I played it and I wept buckets. And then I said, I need to take this music. And I had just started listening to lo-fi.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're at home and we're working and we're just typing things up and planning stuff. And I've got my lo-fi beats on in the background. And it just clicked. I'm like, I need to write Kingdom Hearts lo-fi.
Right.
And then I decided that I wanted to, it has this the same chords, the same chord structure as the original, some of the similar instrumentation, but the beats are different. The melody is completely unique. So it's not covers. They are all completely inspired by these characters.
Yeah, and so it's inspired by a lot of the characters within the Kingdom Hearts series. And if you don't know the Kingdom Hearts series, there are certain characters that have weapons that look like keys, but they're called keyblades.
Yeah.
So the whole idea behind the lo-fi album is, what if we keep the same chord structure and all of that kind of thing, doing our own melodies sort of deal, but have something that would evoke the keyblade itself as along with its wielder. So I thought that was really cool, and it really kind of shows the huge example of what we were trying to do with Mythic Geekdom, which is we watched and played Kingdom Hearts.
We're inspired by
that, and we wanted to just create something new and let that be out to inspire other people to do. So it just kind of passes along in sort of a ripple effect.
And it's called Hearts of the Kingdom, a lo-fi journey inspired by the Guardians of Light. And basically I wanted it to be, if you love Kingdom Hearts and know Kingdom Hearts, you'd be able to listen to it and be like, oh yeah, I can see why that's Roxas. And if you haven't played it, it still stands up as a really good lo-fi album. Also, it's free for you to stream. You can put that music in your streams,
and I
for
do
free, as long as you just give credit to them and myself. Yeah, it's on Spotify and all the places.
Yep.
Goodness. So I want to kind of come back to like what you were talking about a little bit with just kind of the mental journey that it's taken to get here. And I also want to bring that back to specifically to the album, because I remember just about a year ago when we were talking, and it was like you were starting to see that the path was available, but it was still very much I'll get there someday. And then it felt like, you know, like you were saying, it felt like overnight. I realized there was much more to it, but it was really pretty quickly. It was like, I have an album coming out. What changed in there to go from, I've maybe got the pieces starting to come together, to like, no, I'm doing this and getting it on Spotify and all that. Like, it just feels so momentous. And how much of it was the mental game that really got you?
Oh, all of it.
Like 99.9999% is the mental game.
Really.
For sure.
And then 1% was letting myself learn a new program. I learned, I did it all on GarageBand on my phone, all of it.
Yeah.
So I would play around on the app and go, this is too hard, I can't do it. Oh, this is nice, but I'll never be able to get, you know, a live orchestra, or, you know, I'll never be able to do this. I can't record my voice on this thing. The microphone's not that good. And it was because it's not everything I want it to be right now. Just don't even try. Mental block. And so it was all mental block.
Mhm.
And that mental block started to release it was many different things happened at once.
Yeah.
My emotions had gotten so difficult for me to manage. They were managing me rather than I was managing them, that I finally said, you know what, I'm going to talk to my physician, and I'm going to see about getting some mood stabilizers. And I'm going to sign up for my first therapy session. And that doesn't always work for everyone, but it worked for me. And if it works for you, yay. And so getting on that kind of mental health positivity regimen really helped. And that started to break down a lot of the barriers I had.
Yeah.
And then being able to talk with you about a lot of the issues that we had an inability to communicate. And when we started to be more vulnerable and more trusting with one another, then it was like, that was the biggest block. Like, I'm afraid to be successful because I'm afraid of hurting anyone around me or whatever,
Right.
you know?
I would say, as like an adjacent person from this, that it feels overnight for a lot of people. And from the moment of, yes, I want to make this album and have it, and then its release, that was a short time.
3 months?
Yeah, that was a short time.
Yeah.
But
I've been wanting to make an album realistically for like
Exactly.
2 years. And of course, dreaming of it since I was a kid, you know.
And the biggest thing was that I would say is, the more you talked about it with anybody, not just me, but the more you talked about it, the more open you were to the idea of it being a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then not just being a possibility, but like possibly having a deadline that isn't, well, someday, but maybe in 5 years or whatever.
Or
and
wait, no, I can
being
write this
able
right
to
now.
see that goal just get kind of closer and really solidifying in your language was, I think, one of the biggest things. It wasn't just you staying mentally in your head about the situation. We had many conversations where I was like, you could just write an album. And she was like,
oh, but
I don't know,
but I want it to
really
be perfect, and I have to, and that's why something just,
but I want it to be
like,
exactly like this. And I'm like, you could just make an album, and then you'll know that portion, and you'll know that step, so that the next album is more to what you want.
Because I'm a vocalist. I'm classically trained in opera and Broadway and a lot of other different kinds of styles. And I've written a lot of things for voice, and I want to make an album where I'm singing as well. But I didn't feel like I was ready for that. And so again, it was like mental block. No. And I love orchestra. Orchestral music is my favorite music ever. Even though I'm a singer, it just give me an orchestra and oh my God, I'm weeping. And so I want a full orchestra, and I don't have the means for that yet. But I know someday I will. That's why when my brain clicked and it was like Kingdom Hearts lo-fi, I went, oh my God, I can do an entire lo-fi album with the instruments that are in this app on this phone.
Yes.
Because lo-fi is the type of genre that lends itself to the instrumentation that I have access to, and I will be happy with that. And I had so much fun writing it. Oh my God, I had so much fun writing it.
To the point where she's already like, so albums we'd like in the future.
Yeah, I have I have 3 more lo-fi albums.
There's a discography planned now.
Yes, yeah.
Man, I'm anxious to start working on the second one right now, but I'm working on editing some of our stream videos for YouTube first, and so that's my priority.
Yeah. But I mean, I think they said something like Picasso did like 10,000 art pieces in his life or something like that, but he's only known for like 40 or something. Right. So it's one of those things of like, I know it's not exactly what I want it. It's not perfect.
It's over perfection.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, like I said before, a little bit of Hermione here, and perfection is a hard struggle for me. And I think it probably is for you as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's just telling yourself, this is just another step. This is just another step in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because of, looking at the world, looking out there and, but there's our own personal stuff, and that's all we can really control. What has doing this and these projects and having it be successful, what has that done in terms of like your mental state? Where do you think you'd be without it right now? Is this helping you to survive this chaos?
1,000% yes. I have always turned to some form of art when I need to express anything.
Neil Gaiman's law.
Yep. Make good art.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I just to the point of like, it's hard for me to like express feelings and actually like say them. I'm Slytherin. It's kind of a little bit intimidating to like actually say feelings, but being able to express in any kind of medium that I want has always been like a big part of who I am and my self-expression. But I would say that my biggest thing is when starting this is just how many people you maybe have like one or two people that are saying, well, art's not necessarily a profession. This isn't a real job.
But do you get a paycheck?
Right.
Do you get health insurance with this job?
That sort of thing. There's a few people that kind of have that mindset at you. But
God bless you. They're just trying to look out for you.
Sure. But I actually found that more of my friends and my community and my people wanted to just bolster it. And they were like, do you? And to me, that was where I finally got to have the light that I've been expressing actually reflected back at me. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my gosh, people actually enjoy this, even if they don't understand all of the geeky references I make or whatever.
Yes,
they
my community does support me.
Yes, they enjoy me, us, for us. And being able to finally see that has been the biggest confidence and the biggest stamina throughout the year for me.
This you keep telling this story over and over again, and it touches my heart. At the beginning of 2020, before the COVID times, Shawna's birthday is early in the year, so near the end of February, and so she just squeezed by to be able to actually have a birthday party before everything shut down.
It was a surprise birthday party.
It was
beautiful. There was a bunch of people there. It was I had no idea it was going to happen. It was lovely.
I had organized for I knew that she was coveting this beautiful hand carved DM screen, Dungeon Master screen for Dungeons and Dragons D&D.
For any TTRPG.
TTRPG. She's like, oh, this is so beautiful. I could never afford it because it was hundreds of dollars, worth the money, but not anything that we could afford.
Right.
And I thought, but it's something a lot of people can afford. And I just started, I put a post out and hid her from it and said, who wants to help afford this big mass birthday present? And we raised all that money and got so many people to help donate like that. And to the point where we were able to get a whole bunch of accessories that go with it and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
they made it over the benchmark of just getting the screen, but had enough money to be able to like furnish the screen to have like really cool things with it.
Place to put your pen and your dice and all these different things.
It was incredible.
And so we surprised her with the birthday party, and then we surprised her with the gift. And we showed her all the people that had donated to the gift. And she told me later that was the moment she realized people do care enough about me as a person to just throw money at me because they want to support me.
Yes.
And that was when we're like, okay, we actually feel like we can do a Patreon, and people will want to support us just because they want to. Before then it's like, oh, we're not making anything cool enough to be worthy of a Patreon, and we're like, screw it. And you probably know a lot about that. You just did a Kickstarter.
Incredible.
Yeah, no, it's very much the same thing. I was completely shocked because I made sure to have all these like low ticket items because like no one's gonna want to throw that much on me, but this way lots of people can throw like a buck here and a buck there. And the first thing that was gone was the highest ticket. And I was like, what?
That's amazing.
But it was one of those moments where it was like, people like what I do. People are
yeah.
Yes.
Is it just some weird thing that lives in my head? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So for me, that getting that DM screen while the actual screen itself is amazing and beautiful, and I use it.
Still uses it even though we're not playing games in person.
It's true.
2 games a week over Zoom.
While that joint gift is amazing, the card with everybody's name on it is just as precious to me, because that's like the shield that I need, that's the shield of, no, I can do this. I can take a few hits. I got it,
Yeah.
And I want to reaffirm again that it's not knowing that your art is good enough to be liked by people it feels great.
Yes.
But that's not as important as just making your art and putting it out there.
Right.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And then knowing that you have people that love you and support you. And if those things happen to coincide and there are other people that like your art, cool.
Yeah.
There was always this block of like, mom puts your art on the fridge because she's your mom, even though it's not really good art. We've always been worried about that. Oh, people are just going to help us out because they like us, but they don't really like our art. And don't let that stop you. If they like you because they like you, cool. They're still supporting you.
Something. Yes.
Exactly. Make
Exactly.
your art because you want to make it.
Yeah.
And someone else is going to want it.
Make what you want to see, and the bonus is when other people are like, I love this too.
Yes. It's kind of like going to a convention and you are feeling super nervous, but this is like a convention that's specifically around what you like. So you're like, okay, I'm going to talk about my fandom. It's going to be great, but I'm really nervous about it. And I don't want to like go up to people and be like, yo, I know everything about this, because that feels weird. So I'll just go into the lobby, but I'll wear my fandom shirt. And then you get into the lobby and there's like there's a whole bunch of people talking and whatnot, and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get into these conversations, and somebody notices your shirt and they're like, that is a cool shirt.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love this about this, and you just start going from there.
Yep. Making
Art for me, because I'm more of the visual artist as opposed to the like auditory artist, making art for me is very like, it is my shirt. It is my this is the thing I like. And if you're in the lobby and you want to come talk to me about this thing, I'm here to talk about it, but if you don't and you're in the lobby and you're just talking to other people, that's cool too.
Yeah. So obviously a piece of a lot of the things that you're doing requires being very visible. You're doing live streams, you're putting your works out there. So I realize that a lot of this is meant putting yourselves out there, being very visible, and getting a little uncomfortable. And what are some things that you've learned to help you get past that like fear of being seen and letting people see and being visible? Like, what are some of your tricks and tips for putting yourself out there without giving into the, oh God, people are actually going to look at this?
I think what helps me the most is knowing that people want to see you be genuine. We love nothing so much more as when we look at the people that we value, the celebrity across from us that we can never touch, they're too far away. But when we see something that's humanizing about them, we're like, oh my gosh, they laugh and they mess up when they do an interview, or they sip their tea and it was too hot and they spit it out, or they have doggos that run past them and they're like, oh, cat butt in my face or whatever.
Right.
They're like, oh, I do that too. There's nothing so special as having that moment when you realize that the person that you idolize has so much in common with you.
Yes.
And
the only way to know that, for people to know that,
reveal it,
is to have the vulnerability to just
Yeah.
allow those
Let
real life
yourself be
things to
human and
happen.
show mistakes and flaws,
Yes.
you know, if they're funny or if they're deep and personal,
Right.
you know.
As of right now, we are game streaming on Twitch every Saturday
Twitch
evening.
and Facebook and YouTube
Now,
on
hey,
our live Mythic Geekdom
thanks,
channels.
patrons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Every Saturday from 5 to 7
we will
p.m.
sit and
Pacific.
play video games. And
we never thought that could be a thing.
No.
Like,
and
really?
Joe's grown up playing video games and is a classic gamer, knows the games. I know nothing. I like the last game I played was probably Super Mario Brothers 3 or like Tetris or like
puzzle games,
Boy,
nothing else.
Maybe
Paperboy.
Holla at your Paperboy. Because that's basically all I played.
That's mostly what our video game streams are. Shawna's talking about stuff that is just like, oh, you sweet summer child, and me laughing at it.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I am, again, back to the Hermione. I don't like being wrong. I do not like it. It is
video games is hard when you die all the time. You know?
Oh my God, Shawna,
failure,
I feel like you and I would bond over this because this is why I watch people play games versus playing them myself. Because if they don't do what I want them to do, like I just get frustrated and angry, and it's
Yes.
So we turned that frustration into entertainment. Every time she dies, we had like a celebration where everyone in the chat would all cry out shoes when, you know, Crash Bandicoot would fall into a hole and his shoes popped up, you know.
But like it's one of those things of I'm so used to being the theater kid, which is like you're early, you know your lines, you know what you're doing, and if you don't have it, if you are not in the pocket on stage, if you are not in the pocket, what are you even doing?
And if you make a mistake on stage, never let the audience know.
It's always professional face, right? So for me, it's been about embracing those struggles and being more raw and being more vulnerable.
I think Dungeons and Dragons helped with that too.
Yeah.
We started to watch a lot of different streaming shows that do Dungeons and Dragons, incredible ones out there. And then we started to play more ourselves, and you started to DM more yourself. And we did a couple of shows ourselves, little one shots for audiences. And we started to come up with
locally.
Yeah. We started to come up with, and we have one online too.
That's true.
Yeah. But, we started to come up with the idea that ones are fun because in a tabletop role-playing game like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons, you have a 20-sided die, and every time you want to try and do something, you roll the die to see how successful you'll be, and you have your own personal stats that you can add to that or whatever. But if you roll a natural 20, then critical success, you've done it with flying colors. And if you roll a natural 1, critical failure. It doesn't matter if you have a +8 in your stat to that. You rolled a natural 1, you slipped and fell on a banana peel and you failed.
Yeah.
And if you think of Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing games like a game, then you think, oh, I failed, I lost, I tried to do this thing and I lost. But if you think of it as a storytelling opportunity that everyone is making up together at the same time, if a character rolls a 1, it can be really funny, it can be a really hilarious moment for the story, or it gives another character an opportunity to help them.
Yes.
So we started to say ones are fun.
Yeah.
And I think we embraced that whole idea in our streams as well.
Yeah.
Because if we fail while we're playing a video game and the audience witnesses us fail, or if we do a spit take while we're talking, or we mess up our words or whatever, we're being funny and human and interesting and relatable, and ones are fun. You know, take that and go with it.
It's the bold choices that you're making, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. If you rolled a 10, you're probably gonna, you know, adequately do whatever you need to
succeed just fine.
But it's average, you know? And complacency and just being average in a game or having in a storytelling moment,
it's safe, you'll survive,
isn't really great to watch. It's not as entertaining to watch. So
it does not a great story make.
You really want to make those bold choices, and if it happens that you roll a 1, you just keep doing it, you know?
That's why you have party members.
And you don't,
yeah.
yes, and you don't hold on to it, you know?
Look, it's a metaphor for life.
What? Not only have you guys created this business ostensibly, but you're doing it as partners, and that just adds a whole nother layer. So I would just love a little insight behind the scenes into how that's been integrating yourselves and your relationship into a business.
Well, we've worked together for years.
Lots of years.
Lots and lots of years.
We've co-directed plays and things together. We
have run a performing arts camp for youth
together in the summer,
like 15 years.
So it's that, like, it's not overnight. It's a whole big thing.
We're used to working with one another,
right?
And if we have moments where we get snippy with one another, some of the people we've worked with could be like, "Oh, yep, they're having one of those moments," you know. And they started to realize, "Oh, okay,
parents are fighting.
Gotta rein that in." But everyone thinks that, you know, oh, they're upset, and like, no, we're just intense. No. We're not upset at all. We're perfectly fine. We're just being intense with one another, and you know, we're geeks.
We're passionate,
right? And we had to learn. Oh yeah, people are getting scared and uncomfortable. We need to like learn how to rein that in.
I feel like we just kind of. I like to joke that Joe and I timeshare a brain at points. So
finish each other's sentences,
have sandwiches,
train of thoughts.
Yep.
That's what I was gonna say.
So it feels like where I know where my flaws are and where I lack.
Same.
And I know where hers
strengths.
Yep. So I know
that's a Shawna thing.
I know the things where she can't.
The rest of it is you.
Exactly. I'll handle this business, this portion. You handle that portion.
Between the two of us, like, I'm the graphic designer and she's the artistic, like the organic one. If it's a flower or a human, or, you know, it's a fluid, if it's drawing, that's her. When she's done with that, she gives it to me, and I'm the one that's nitpicky and says, okay, well, we need to make sure this border
has to be framed nice border, and
you know. And she's like, really, that's important? I'm like, yes, it's important. You know. You know, but it's a beautiful balance.
Right.
We're both visual artists, but in two different ways, on two different sides of the scale. And so we know where each other's strengths and weaknesses are.
And while now I could probably just be like, okay, we're working on this thing, and I'm gonna zip this out, you work on this, and we just kind of boom and go. That's because we've done it again for so long that we've talked and communicated so much with each other.
We met in like 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah. So we've known each other for forever. And it's one of those things of, I wouldn't know what you needed or where your weaknesses are, or where your insecurities are. Like in the case of Joe wanting to make that album, but having that mental block, I wouldn't know that if we didn't communicate, if we didn't constantly talk about where we want to be. And we have, even though we literally do this like every day, it's like, get up, do Mythic Geekdom, you know, but we still literally set times. This is a meeting. Where do we want this to go? Is it still going in the direction we want it to? Do we want to try this other avenue? Do we want to have another portion? Or do we have too much on our plate right now and have to pull things off of the stove a little bit on the back burner for a time? So it for me, it's constant communication that makes the partnership actually run.
And a schedule. We started committing to a schedule. We are those artistic overachieving geeks that always burn the candle at both ends from high school on.
I don't know anything about that.
Right? Nothing about that. And so many nervous breakdowns, mental breakdowns happen because of that. Literally, I was having two gigantic burnout, like screaming in the car, weeping, right before the pandemic started. I had hit like my low. And when we jumped into this, we said, okay, we're giving ourselves limits. So we have that time where we're working on separate things, we're working together, we have meetings to discuss where we want to go. And then we have a time when we say, okay, we're done working. We're done working today. Now we are talking about things that are fun. Now we're watching a Netflix show together. Now we are cooking together.
There's points where it's now like, no, literally, I am my own boss, and I'm telling us we're going to have a vacation.
Yep.
This
we're not
day,
working today.
You're not working.
And you feel guilty, you know, like I should be working. No, you should be resting.
Like, working for yourself is so easy. It must be so nice. And I feel like it's just way stronger a danger and way easier to overwork yourself.
Yeah,
totally.
I am a much more demanding boss than any boss I've ever had.
Exactly. But at the same time, I feel like in some cases, I am much more an understanding boss.
Man, if I want to wake up 30 minutes later, oh, yes.
My favorite thing about this whole past year is I think I've set my alarm clock in the morning maybe 3 times.
Oh.
I need a moment.
Need a moment there?
I need a moment because I am not a morning person. And I'll tell you what, like, my outlook on getting up in the morning completely changed when I didn't have to have something, you know, hitting me. I got up because I wanted to work on what I wanted to work on.
I remember when it was like depression every day, trying to wake you up, and you're like, I am literally, I have negative spoons. This is an impossible task. I cannot get up, because the idea of going back to that workplace with that environment and that level of respect,
I can't do it right now.
I can't do it.
And it wasn't feeding me creatively either. So now being able to say, I'm going to wake up when I wake up, and if that's super early in the morning because I am loving the project that I'm working on, great. If it's later in the morning, because I need a little more time, that's okay too, you know?
We are surviving financially.
Sure.
We're doing just fine. Are we where we want to be? Absolutely not. We are still hustling, doing Mythic Geekdom, dog sitting, giving voice lessons, doing art commissions,
food deliveries,
a whole bunch of different things. We're like running the gamut of the odd jobs to make ends meet. And we make ends meet. Even then we're not using our Patreon money to survive. We're using it to invest in the business and buy more stuff like cool lighting and stuff, you know, and that's what's important to us. We're making it work, but that's every artist's dream, to be able to be completely sustainable with your art. And even though we feel very successful, we realize that we still have very far to go to be at that point.
Right.
Okay, switching tracks a little bit. I want each of you to tell me one thing you are very proud of yourself for from 2020.
Man, I know it looks like I'm struggling to find something to talk about, and it's actually kind of the opposite for me. There's a lot of things that I really enjoyed this year. Being able to even just launch Mythic Geekdom this year is huge, and obviously the very obvious general answer for the year, but on a personal level, I would say probably allowing myself to be my own boss has been the proudest moment for this year for me. Being able to not just tell myself, I work, what is work and what is money, and I need a boss, so I guess I'm going to be the boss. Not just that, but like be able to internalize and accept and say, yeah, I'm going to be the boss. And I'm going to make the decisions. I'm going to put out what I want. And yes, being the boss is a little scary and a little intimidating and definitely overwhelming at times.
But it's mostly a mental block. Just start researching stuff and you'll get there.
But really, being the boss is like, whoa. Again, for a Slytherin, being the boss. Whoa, yeah. So
and once I give myself a job, the Hufflepuff's like, ooh, job.
Exactly. But I would say just, you know, accepting that I make a pretty good boss.
Yes, you do.
Oh, yes. Oh.
For me, I'm going to say actually believing that I was worthy enough to make the art that I want to make, enough so that I could get past my mental blocks and just freaking make it. Yes. And I did. I made the album.
Yes.
You know, and so it's like a prize saying, it's a little award saying you did the thing. It's not so much that I made an album, more that I let myself do it. You know,
you let yourself achieve something.
I let myself believe that I was worthy of it.
Yeah.
You know, that was biggest 2020 success moment for sure.
Oh. All right. Now for each other. What are you most proud of the other person for?
Ooh. Oh.
Okay. Oh, I've got it.
Well, you better go and I'll come up with something.
Biggest thing that I can think of for Shawna is letting herself be vulnerable and show authentic emotions and real humanness, including flaws and mistakes, in front of yourself, in front of me, in front of the world. That.
Thank you. I would say I am most proud of the fact that you invested so much in you, in being able to talk to a therapist and other friends and other people about what you're going through and not just trying to handle it yourself. Like, you're a very communicative person, and while you do tell people what's going on, this felt more like, I'm telling you because I want you involved. I want you to be a part of this thing that I'm doing for myself.
Thanks.
Good Yorb.
Okay, so what is next for you guys? Talk both about what your short-term, like small, soon goals are, and also what are the big dreams for this?
Okay. Short-term goal on my part is I am looking into making more art that can be put in our Redbubble shop. And have cute little like stickers and fun little things that can be
we have so many ideas.
Yes,
we just need time
water
to do
bottles
them.
And tablet cases and things like that. Being able to have like geeky merch and whatnot,
everybody love merch
out there is great. Just getting seeing friends in like our Mythic Geekdom t-shirts and things.
That's the coolest thing.
I lose it every time. And it's such an inspiration boost for me that I want to like make more things that I want to put in my like art sketchbook, little stickers and stuff, and in my like bullet journals and stuff. So I'm looking into beefing up our Redbubble shop.
Sweet. I'm really loving our video game streams, and I'm learning how to do video editing. And I'm looking forward to editing more of those videos and getting them up on YouTube. They're super fun. We put some little fun jokes in them, and I really enjoy that. I'm looking forward to working on my next couple albums, a couple more geeky lo-fi ones, and then eventually some of the vocal ones too. Yay! I'm really looking forward to that. But I want more of our guided meditations. Yes, Game Master guided meditations. We have one up right now, and you've written like several more.
I've written a few more. There's a few more down the line that we're slowly but surely bringing out. But yeah,
I want to put more of those up on the YouTubes as well, and then maybe we can release an album of those as well. That would be really cool.
Very neat.
Those are short-term like projects for Mythic Geekdom.
For sure. When it comes to long-term, I would like to see Mythic Geekdom be able to give back to the geeky community in a really big way. I'd like it to be able to do some charity stuff. I would love to be able to talk or collaborate with other geeky artists and on what they do and be like, how can we make what we do and what you do into something completely new, like a alchemist or something.
Definitely want to collaborate and bring in a variety, a diversity of backgrounds, and point of views, and being able to people of color, people of a variety of different genders, all kinds of different communities. I want us to be able to, if we can use our platform to help extend, right
now obviously the business has its baby legs.
It's a baby.
But I'm hoping that in the future we will be able to not only grow up and be able to run with those legs, but sprout wings and like go. So
obviously I am absolutely going to put all the links to everything in the description box below, but where do people find you? How do people find you? Where should they look for you?
All of the socials is at Mythic Geekdom. So if you go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, Twitch, YouTube, Redbubble, Spotify, any of those places, look for Mythic Geekdom, one word, and you will find us there.
No spaces, no capitals.
Is at Mythic Geekdom.
Yep.
Thank you so much, guys. This has been amazing getting to hear more about all of this and what the two of you have been up to. And like I have said, this is going to become a series here. I want to have more creators on. I want to talk to other creators. Well, I just tried to coin a new word there. I tried to say queer and creator at the same time.
A queerator.
Yeah. I was like, I don't hate it. But it was just like, I felt the
curator.
Queerator. You're the queerator curator.
Ooh.
Hey.
Ooh.
Hey.
Ooh.
Trademark.
There we go.
Tia.
Thank you so much, you guys. This has been awesome.
And thank you, Aiden. Thank you for all of your work that you kickstarted my brain to help bring down some of those mental blocks. You were a big part of it. So thank you so much for everything you did in helping my journey and our journey. And you are just a phenomenal friend and an incredible artist. And I cannot wait to see where Limitless goes. I can't wait to purchase items.
If you need like a model.
Once again, thank you so much to Joe and Shawna of Mythic Geekdom. I have got all of their information down in the description below, so you can find where to follow them and keep up with their antics as they continue on their journey. And if you are a queer creator and you would like to hop on an interview with me and talk about this thing we do, I would love to hear from you. Please reach out directly. If you are new here, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like what I am doing. I am currently uploading every other Monday, so I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.
Girl, she hasn't worn lipstick in months. We're like, opportunity.
That's me. Like my TikToks and these videos are pretty much my only reason to like doll myself up right now.
I really like it. I'm hippie.
You're
giving voice lessons.
Also hippie. To hear your voice.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely in the video right now.
I mean, you're handsome, dude.
But it's a little weird to just have you lurking. All right, why is my hat lopsided?
Drawing Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's jaunty. It's jaunty.
It is jaunty, or my head is jaunty.
I think it's here.
Yeah.
Oh, waiting for the siren. There it goes.
Almost.
Keep going.
Almost.
And I know that putting yourself out like that, Let's try that again in English.
Done that so many times.
Live.
Woo.
And I looked over and there's the dog. Plate of food, just it was.
Oh, that is a mood.